The university is a widely respected institution and through the centuries has contributed a lot to the progress of human societies. However, modern technology and the need to do more at a lower cost will force a complete restructuring of the way all education is delivered with emphasis on university level. In the next slides we will present what we believe and why it will happen in the next decade or so. The proper actions from the universities and the governments during this transitional period will save an unprecedented amount of money and will determine the leaders of education in the whole world. The basic behavioral difference between humans and the other creatures living on Earth is that humans think and care about their future, namely what they will eat, where they will stay and how they will survive. Thus the elderly passed their experiences on to younger generations and education started. At the beginning a professional man took a young apprentice to help him and he learned the profession. For many thousands of years we had education from one to one. The first fundamental change happened in ancient Greece, when in about 400 BC the professional teacher appeared teaching a small group how to speak and argue in front of a public audience. At the same time Aristotle, Plato and others offered their theories as material to be taught. Thus knowledge was transferred from one to many and education started to spread knowledge faster. The second fundamental change took place in Germany in the 15th century. Technology allowed Gutenberg to invent typography and the concept of the printed book was created. In the next 500 years knowledge was spread through millions of books from a relatively few authors to millions of readers. Fiction, history and science became property of the common people. The educational system was expanded and took a form similar to what we have today. Today, in the beginning of the 21st century, the third fundamental change has started. The driving force behind this change is technology again. Throughout the entire Earth there is a system of computers connected through Internet. We will call this system COIN. COIN is transferring information and knowledge from one human mind to million others instantly and at minimum cost. Education is changing substantially and irreversibly. In the few slides that follow we will try to foresee roughly what will happen, how education will change within a decade, and understand why this will happen and try to benefit from these changes. Education is organized today at roughly 4 levels. Level 1 is the primary education, for children from kindergarten to 12 years old. At this level the child receives the essential knowledge necessary to any human being for his or her life. Level 2 is the secondary education, from 12 to 18 years old. At this level the teenager receives the knowledge necessary to any citizen for his or her life in the modern world. Level 3 is the professional education, from 18 to 22 years old, which provides specialized, advanced knowledge a professional must have for exercising a certain profession. It is usually called undergraduate education, provided by a college or university leading to a bachelor's degree. Finally, Level 4 education is for those who want to be able to go beyond what is known today and discover new knowledge. It is usually called graduate education and it is given in university leading to a master's or PhD degree. Undergraduate and graduate education is referred usually as university education. University education has 2 main goals, teaching and research. To be more precise, undergraduate education involves mostly courses, while research belongs to education of level 4. Administration is a supporting activity. Let us examine how teaching is done today at level 3, since this is the level that will be mostly affected by the third fundamental change in education. The teacher of a course controls everything: the subject, material, the place, classroom, the time, the way of teaching, etc. The student accepts passively everything. There may be some exceptions. The student may choose some secondary courses and videos can be used at different places and times. The cost of studying is high. The cost of staying away from home is paid by the student. The tuition is paid by the student or the state. The cost of buildings, construction and maintenance, is paid by the university or the state. The salaries of the professors are been paid by the university or the state. We must keep in mind that control and cost are the main reasons for the third fundamental change. Do you remember the Terminator? It was a science fiction movie, but the creature in it was real and it is here now. It is disguised as a computer. It does not kill people, as it does in the movie, but it acts much more wickedly. It only takes their jobs. It will take over most part of teaching. It will start from level 3, because it will cut substantially the cost and will give the control to the student. To understand better that creature, let us consider a modern computer. What is a computer? A computer is a special machine of combined metal and plastic. A computer follows and reacts to a program written by a human being. A computer has predetermined, contained in the program, but very sophisticated criteria for making decisions. A computer evolves from time to time to a better computer, as man dictates. A computer can do calculations, and other activities that can be reduced to calculations, correct and very fast, much faster than the man does. Whatever is the case, we must not forget that a computer is only an obedient machine. Let us now ask the important question, can a computer teach? The answer is yes, provided it is powerful enough and has the appropriate teaching program. Today, even small and cheap home computers are powerful enough. But what is the appropriate teaching program? This is a program containing the material to be taught and the rules, criteria, of handling this material. What does Internet offer? Communication. A computer alone can teach its user locally. With Internet, the user can be anywhere on Earth. Thus the learners can be very far away from the computer and all over the planet. The learner chooses freely the material they will study, the place, the time, and the way they will study, for example, a chapter with its exercises per week. We have now 3 main tools or factors for education: the teacher, the book, and coin. Each of these factors presents advantages and disadvantages. We list some of these characteristics. A characteristic may be an advantage in some cases and a disadvantage in other cases. It is up to us to use the best combination to set up a good teaching program. For example, if money is not a problem, we may use more teachers. If there is time restriction, for someone who works, then we may favor coin or even a book. The essential argument of this presentation is that writing good teaching software will favor coin more and more. We come now to the essence of the problem: how do we teach with coin? There is an easy but wrong solution, which has been adopted mainly in USA and less in Europe. Today universities offer courses through the Internet with material in printed and video forms. Thus, they give material in PDF files or videos from lecturers in real classes. This material is easy to produce, but a computer screen is not designed for reading printed documents or playing passive Hollywood movies. Obviously, the control is essentially still with the teacher. This solution uses only the telecommunication properties of the Internet. Essentially, it does not use computers. Offering printed material and videotape lectures is a temporary solution for spreading the fame of the teacher or the university, but it is not a permanent solution to the teaching problem. Coin will mainly affect teaching at level 3, because of the following reasons, which will occur primarily at level 3. 1. The cost of teaching per learner can be reduced drastically, because tuition will be diminished essentially and the learner will stay at home most of the time. 2. There is pressure from the society to increase the number of people with a level 3 degree, because the demand for a university degree will increase. 3. There are many learners, customers, at level 3, millions in the world, who can be reached through Internet. 4. Education at level 3 maybe is needed or demanded at any age of the learner, since in the modern society a working professional may change work more times than in the past. Coin will affect neighboring courses of level 2 and level 4, but it will not change substantially these levels. Let us estimate very roughly the cost for 1 year of studying as an undergraduate in the old type university, where the student goes and stays at the university, as opposed to the new type university, where the student stays and studies at home using teaching software. The important factor to observe is that in the old type of university the main expenses are due to teachers and the university facilities. If this amount is minimized, then the expenses for the two cases compare as 5:1 for departments which have no labs. And nothing can change this ratio substantially. If there are some labs, this ratio may be smaller, but still it will be larger than 1. Why will Level 3 education collapse? Teaching software will affect all levels of education. However, the changes will be devastating at Level 3, because of the following reasons. The cost difference between the old and the new Level 3 is very large. The number of teachers needed will be much lower in the new Level 3 structure. The students at Level 3 use computers very efficiently. The students at Level 3 are able to plan and execute their own educational program. From their present structure, Level 3 institutions will keep the labs, the exams, and the right to award degrees. They will need much fewer buildings, professors, personnel. They will serve many more students. It must be clear by now that the main problem is how to make a computer teach. The basic requirement is to give the control of teaching to the student. Once this is satisfied, the rest will come as natural consequences. Thus we must write teaching software, namely software controlled by the student, which will replace the teacher in teaching the material of the course. This is not a simple task and we have no guidelines on how to do it. This software must be interactive, controlled by the student, complete, cover all needs of a standard course, responsive, answer all possible queries, contained in at least one good book on the subject, affordable, by the student, accepted widely, recognized as correct and adequate, attractive to students, at least not repulsive. Educational software is a broader concept, since it includes teaching software and any software that educates, namely documentaries, educational movies, small programs for limited educational activities, etc. No substantial teaching software for a course of Level 3 education has been written up until now, although there is a lot of educational software, tools, movies, sort programs, etc. Teaching software requires innovation, talent, hard work, at least 1 or 2 years, author, for example a good scientist and experienced author, computer specialists, security from copying, financial support. How and when will this change take place? It depends mainly on the teaching software available. About 5 years are needed for writing a version 2 good teaching software and another 5 years for organizing the course and the exams. Universities are difficult to change, because of the invested capital and the radical changes required. The next 10 years are crucial, but at the end the technological progress will impose the new structure. Probably, the change will start from supplementary material or additionally needed supporting education with very few courses. The new Level 3 education will be served more efficiently by the private sector. The demand for more diplomas by the society and the improvement of the authoring tools will accelerate it. What about homework, labs, exams? Homework, which normally requires a teacher to correct it, can be replaced by Smart Quiz. A Smart Quiz contains questions that have 0 probability to be answered correctly, if answered at random. Labs and exams require the presence and participation of the student. We separate the courses in 3 groups, those with no labs, for example literature, those with few labs, for example physics, and those with many labs, for example medicine. For the first group, there is no problem. For the second group, the labs can be arranged in time to serve the students. For the third group, the experience from the previous groups will help us find the best solution. Exams will be offered according to a schedule announced a few months in advance. Conclusions. 1. Today we can write teaching software, namely software programs that will make possible a computer to teach a complete course for an undergraduate. 2. Teaching software will lower substantially the cost of university education and will make it easier for anyone to obtain higher education. 3. Teaching software will gradually replace most lecturers of basic courses, in classrooms or online, and will change radically the structure of the university. 4. Technology and particularly computers and internet will change drastically the undergraduate education at colleges and universities, starting from courses with no labs and people with open minds.